Hey, and welcome back to another video. So in this video, I'll be showing you what it's like running macOS Big Sur on the mid-2014 MacBook Pro 13-inch. This one has a Core i5 clocked in at 2.6 gigahertz, and it's a dual-core processor. It has 8 gigs of RAM and Intel Iris graphics. Now, I've been using this for a few days now, maybe about 3 to 4 days, and I've done so many things on it, which includes browsing, video editing, and all that stuff. This is my main editing PC for my channel, so my whole channel depends on this. So I was quite hesitant to update it to Big Sur when I heard that Big Sur had a few problems, and it was bricking older MacBooks, but now Apple seems to have fixed that. Well, they did fix it. They did release a statement and stuff. So it is fixed and it's running perfectly, I can say off the bat. I've been doing all sorts of things, like I said, with it, and it runs just fine. So in this video, I'll be going over the battery life, the performance, the browsing, and just a few aesthetic details to Big Sur as well, just as an introduction into it. And I'll be showing you what it runs on macOS Big Sur in general. Now, don't quote me on this, but this may be the final update this 2014 lineup of MacBooks get, because they're really old now. They're just 7 years old as of 2021. So don't quote me on it, but it might be the last major update Apple gives this laptop. However, Apple is known for supporting their devices for a really long time, like iPhones and iPads. So they might actually give one more update to this thing in the future, whichever the next macOS is, because the performance on this is exactly the same as Catalina. The battery took a slight hit, but that's about it. And there's a bit of stutter here and there, but there's nothing major. And I'm pretty sure they'll iron those out with a future small patches here and there, because Big Sur still is getting patches. So there's just a very few negatives to updating to Big Sur, and the positives are just overwhelm the negatives in so many ways. So since the performance is still so good, I can imagine Apple still giving another major update to this as its final update, but still don't quote me on that either. Anyway, let's jump right into this video. Okay, so now let's discuss the boot time of the MacBook Pro 2014. Boot times after the update to Big Sur have been, they varied quite a lot. I did not time the boot times on Catalina when this thing was on Catalina, but I since I use this laptop every day and I do all my YouTube editing and all of this stuff, including this video, which will be done on this, I kind of roughly know how long it takes to turn on. However, sometimes it's slightly faster on Big Sur and sometimes it's slightly slower. But we can't do an average. I don't really have the time in this review to keep it as short as I can. But we'll do one test and I'll show you how long it takes to start the MacBook. So we're going to hit the start timer here at the same time we hit the power button and go. For a 7-year-old laptop, you really can't expect it to be lightning fast. When this thing was new, it would have started up in like 6 seconds, but now obviously it should be around 30 seconds as I remember, roughly around 30 seconds. But when this thing was new, it did turn on in 5 seconds, so 5 or 6 seconds. And as time went on, as the updates went on, it did get slower. But again, it's a 7-year-old laptop. You really can't expect much. So, and about 33 seconds. Yeah. So that's how long it takes to turn on this laptop, roughly 33 seconds. And I did this test off screen as well, and it was around 33 to 34. Maybe once it was 30, but 30 to 34 seconds. Okay, reset. Now I'll type in my password and we'll see how long it takes to get into the menu. And we're gonna hit enter. And until all the icons appear, that's what I'm gonna do here. So loading. So at the 14-second mark, the bottom row appears and the top row appeared at around 22 seconds. So to turn on completely, 33 seconds plus 22. So you do the math there. What is it? 55 seconds. So yeah, overall about a minute to turn on the entire laptop. It's not bad, but it's not great either. But at this age, you can imagine this laptop, the performance should be, it's expected it should be that it's not slow, but I'd say it's not what it used to be. But still, it's quite impressive. I've seen laptops perform worse than that. And especially Windows laptops, the older they get, the way slower they get, and especially laptops with hard drives. This thing has an SSD in it, so it's perfectly fine. Anyway, that was the startup times for the 2014 MacBook Pro. Let's move on to the next category. So now I'd like to discuss the new design aesthetic and all that stuff. So the icons have got some changes to them. Most notably, the SMS and the message icon and the FaceTime icon look like the FaceTime and SMS icons from iOS 8 or before iOS 8, I'd say iOS 6 maybe. They really look old school. I really noticed that the SMS and the FaceTime icons look really old. The rest of all the icons got more rounded edges, as you can see there. They're more rounded. Let me zoom in a bit. They're more rounded, and everything in general got a more rounded edge to them. If I open Finder, you'll see that the sides are also more rounded than before. The icons themselves are still square, but the entire page here, as you can see, it's more rounded on the sides. The layout on the side here has changed to the font used is slightly different, as you can see there. The font is different. They also included new control center features and all. Now up top here you get more control over the laptop. Let me go there and zoom up so you can see better. So you got a list of controls. You got Wi-Fi, Finder, another new control center, which is more of an iPhone kind of control center. Looks more of something that an iPhone would have. We got the display slider, we got sound, music, and battery percentage down here. This definitely looks like something you'd find on an iPhone. Let me bring an iPhone here for comparison. Very similar to an iPhone's control center, which is a good thing. I really like it. We have Siri next to it as usual. Siri is not available because I don't have Wi-Fi turned on. The battery percentage, this here, it's not included default when you update and you turn on the laptop. The battery percentage is no longer visible as default. But that's just their way of reducing clutter. You can actually go into preferences and change it. I've done a separate video on that. You can find it up here. But don't think that you can't get the battery icon and percentage back. You can actually get it back. It's just you have to go and mess around with the settings. We also got Bluetooth here and all that stuff. The next thing I wanted to discuss is the all these menus. They're also, I feel that they're slightly different. The drop-down menus, the transparency has been adjusted a bit more, and again, it's general, the icons and all that stuff as well. The dock commands and all that stuff. Let me go here again, a more closer look. You may have seen the icons are a bit curved. Where's the Finder icon? I want to discuss the Finder icon. I really liked the Finder icon. I know it's down there, but can I get it up here? Oh, never mind. So anyway, the Finder icon, let me just to zoom in a bit there. So the Finder icon, again, I really like what they've done with it. It's like I said, it's rounded, but it looks more futuristic than what it used to be. So I really dig the Finder icon. I know it's really small details, but those details add up. So that's the new general design aesthetic to macOS Big Sur. I also forgot to mention that under dock and menu bar in preferences, you can add and remove any of the icons seen here. So like I said earlier, you can add and remove the battery indicator and the battery percentage from the control center as well. You can turn off the keyboard. You can turn on and off the keyboard brightness from there as well. If you click that, keyboard brightness on and off if you want to add that there. And these are all highly customizable, and you can add them here, and you can add or remove whatever you like as well. So the next thing I want to discuss is performance in general. So let's start with storage. So when I was running this on Catalina, I had 70 gigs of available storage, roughly 70 or 71 gigs. And then when I updated to Big Sur, I had 90 gigs. Now it's 78 because I did a few more videos for my channel and copied some stuff onto the hard drive. So that's why you see 78 here. But I was at 70 or 71, and right after the update, it shot up to 90. So there is a space, like the space being used by the OS is slightly small, if not considerably small, I'd say. But then again, this varies from laptop to laptop. Maybe your laptop is like the 2016, 2017, 2018. The space will vary depending on your laptop. But as far as I saw, the 2014 MacBook Pro 13-inch, I was at 71, it shot up to 90 gigs of free space. So basically about 20 gigs of free space was let loose for me to use, meaning that the version of Big Sur that runs on this MacBook is 20 gigs less than the version of Catalina that used to run on this. It's not necessarily the operating system as well. The operating system may not be 20 gigs, but there are other services and files that also add up to the maximum storage. So just because, and the download file size was around 12 gigs, so I can't really say that the unpacked size was 20 gigs, but there are things that newer OSs clear out what the previous OS had on top of it, so it could add to that. But all I know is I got 20 gigs of more space after the update. Now let's just close that, since that's out of the way. And browsing is perfect. It's the same as on Catalina. Everything works fine. Everything runs fine. We're good. What I wanted to show you is the web page loading speed. So let's load up Motorola's website. Let's load that. And as you can see, it's perfectly fast and it's perfectly usable for browsing the web. You do not have any form of stutter. Well, there is slight stutter, you may have noticed, but again, we're talking about a 7-year-old laptop here, so you really can't expect that. Let's go back to Apple's website. As you can see, that thing loaded up extremely fast, but then again, it's also going to depend on your internet speed. Anyway, browsing is perfectly fine. If you're scared that this thing's going to slow down for browsing, that's not the case. You do not have to be scared of that. This thing will work fine with the new with macOS Big Sur. The browser works perfectly fine. I can't see a difference in performance, but it's definitely the same as Catalina as far as this MacBook goes. So the next thing I want to show you is general performance on video editing and stuff like that as well. So here we have iMovie. I use this for all my videos. I just did a video yesterday, as you can see. This is the video that I did, and the performance is just the same. I don't see a difference in performance over Catalina. It would have been nice to have a boost in performance, but then again, we're talking about a 7-year-old laptop here, so we really can't expect much. The performance is the same. I compiled this video multiple times, and the performance is the same. I also, importantly, compiled a video from when I was on Catalina, and I remembered it took roughly 20 minutes to compile. It was a 1080p, it was like a 15-minute video, so it took roughly about 20 minutes to compile. And it took also about 20 minutes to compile on macOS Big Sur as well. So the performance of heavy tasks like video editing are identical to what they were on Catalina on the MacBook Pro 13-inch 2014 edition. So again, you don't have to worry about performance issues here. The performance is, if not slightly better or the same as it was on Catalina. So the only thing that took a slight hit, and take the word slight seriously because I mean very slight. A slight hit is the battery. The battery percentage drops a bit more faster than when it was on Catalina as far as this MacBook goes, but it's a really slight drop. Now, how do I know this, that it's a really slight drop? It's because I use this laptop every day and I know when and where it's going to drop to 50% and all that stuff. This battery is extremely old, but it's still not it still doesn't need service for some reason. When I go into battery settings and system diagnostics, it does not tell me that it needs to be replaced, but the battery is really old on this. But there is only a small difference in battery performance when it comes to macOS Big Sur. I can't see a massive, it's not something that will put you off. It may drop by 5% extra when you're doing the same task versus when you were doing it on Catalina. So don't worry too much about the battery. It's just about a 5% difference. USB transfer speeds are now more stable on macOS Big Sur as the MacBook transfers and downloads files at a more constant rate than it did on macOS Catalina. AirDrop has also been reworked with a more stable connection between MacBooks and iPhones, as well as faster transfer speeds. This may be due to the upcoming iPhone 12s, which may or may not have a physical charging port, which makes it only capable of transferring files between MacBooks via AirDrop. Apple has also focused on thermal performance a bit more and has surely built in a new fan curve, or fan curves for that matter, for better cooling into macOS Big Sur. I say this because when the laptop is under heavy load, such as video compilation and so on, the MacBook is now less warm, but the fan is also at a higher RPM than when it was on macOS Catalina. This also explains the overall slight reduction in battery life as well. And this also has obviously increased the fan noise when under load. Take a listen. As you can see, overall, there's only mostly positive things that could happen when you update it. The only slight things is the battery is maybe 5 or 6% less when you're doing the same task. And there's a slight slowdown in speed of the laptop when it turns on. But then again, the battery percentage and the slowdown in boot up speed quite irrelevant things when you compare it with the benefits of updating to macOS Big Sur on such an old laptop. You get security updates really fast, and one thing that Apple had promised with Big Sur is you get faster updates as well, and that holds to be true because just a few minutes ago I got a notification for a new update to macOS Big Sur. So Apple is keeping their promise there. They're giving more updates. And I recommend 100% you go ahead and update it to Big Sur. The boot up times and the battery percentage are quite negligible. The performance is, if not slightly better or the same, and the new design aesthetic and stuff is really nice and it's really pleasant to the eye. It generally feels like a new laptop in some way or another. And I'm really happy that Apple decided to give such an old laptop the macOS Big Sur update. I'm not sure, but this may be the final big update this laptop will get, but don't take my word for it. We shall wait till Apple says if they will give the update or not. It's up to them, but most probably it may be the last, but let's hope that it at least gets one more update, making it 8 years of updates. So 8 years of updates is a really, really good time, and it's a really it's a big thumbs up on Apple's part because for supporting such an old laptop. Anyway, it's not surprising considering Apple gives iPhones years and years and years of updates. For example, the iPhone 4S got an update in 2019. All those years, all the way from 2011 to 2019, so 7 years 7 or 6 years later. So it's not surprising that Apple gave updates for a laptop that is still capable of running macOS Big Sur. Anyway, that was it for this video. I hope this helped you, and go ahead and update to macOS Big Sur if you still haven't. Thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in my next video.